All right, guys, welcome back to the machine shop. I figured I would get a few things done here before I go to work today. We've got the small block out of the Corvette and the transmission as well. We've got our 5.3 over here. Next week, this will be at the machine shop, getting checked out. It's just your run-of-the-mill truck motor from a 03 Silverado. But today, we've got a lot of stuff to do on the Corvette here. This engine bay it's just, there's not a lot of space. So we've got to make space. I think I'm gonna start by pulling the rest of the front end off here. We're gonna eliminate everything that's not necessary. We're gonna take these horns out, these old emissions cans, get those out of here. We're gonna pull the rad out, and we're actually going to, I'm gonna de-loom the harness and remove any wires that aren't necessary. So we'll have all of our lights functional, blinkers and stuff like that, but everything else has to go. Another thing that I'm concerned about is this windshield wiper motor, because I don't think that the head on that 5.3 is going to clear that. So we're going to have to probably figure something out with that. I'm not going to take it out just yet. I've got my mortar mount, should be here on Friday, so we'll be able to test fit those this weekend with the motor, and then we're going to tear down the motor as well this weekend and get that off to the machine shop next week. We've also got to pull all of my accessory stuff out of here, like oil and nitrous, and we're just going to redo all this. We're going to lose the stock fuel solenoid, get that out of there. Probably have to keep this fan relay in there for now. Maybe I'll wire in a different relay. This one's from 1986, but it does work, you know. So yeah, it's gonna be just cleaning up the engine bay here. And then we've gotta, once we get all this front end stuff off, we've gotta really measure here and see what kind of room we got. But this should be perfect actually for a pretty decent sized intercooler. We're just gonna run air to air, which will be fine. And then I'm actually going to, I think I'm gonna remove this Corvette badge here to get a little bit more air in there. And I might actually pull these fog lights out too, so that we get more air in there. Because once this hood is on, there's no air that comes in here. You know, you can feel the back of this bumper right here is actually fiberglass. And I think what I'm gonna do is actually cut this whole back of this front bumper out, so the air will come in through the fog lights and that plate there, and that'll bring tons of fresh air in. And we can also make, we might have to make some sort of intake. I'd like an intake to be right here for the turbocharger. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, let's get this thing cleaned up and get this engine bay, get some more room in here. Let's go. All right, we got all the front end pieces off of the car. I'm actually really excited because with all these air dam pieces off, there's actually a ton of room up here, tons of room. So we can put a nice air to air in here. I'm not gonna do air to water this year, kind of doing more of a budget build. Next year we can think about some more expensive stuff. This piece right here too, I think we will kind of trim this off from here over to the cross or the frame rather. Same on this side. Got to keep the relays for the lights up here. The fuel pump relay there, we're going to delete that because Holley Terminator has its own fuel pump relay. There's also a relay for the fans hiding under the master cylinder there. We're going to hopefully be able to delete that as well. I'm not sure if the Holley system does have a relay for fans. I'm assuming that it does. But if it doesn't, then we will probably end up wiring our own relay setup in there. A lot of this other wiring is just kind of finagled in there. We're going to get rid of the manual oil pressure. We're going to get rid of the toggle fans, toggle fuel pump, and have that stuff all run on the Holley system. So it'll be a lot easier actually. And these transmission lines as well, I'm probably going to reuse them. I have an idea for a tranny cooler. I'm going to kind of do a barnyard tranny cooler because I do have some transmission coolers for big trucks and stuff like that. I think I'm actually going to use a Power Stroke trans cooler on the car. I think it will actually work out pretty well. Other than that, the windshield wiper motor, I'm going to go ahead and leave that on until we fit the motor in here and see if it does clear. I really hope that that will clear. If it doesn't, not really sure what I'm going to do about that. Wipers are optional, but I'd like to have them. Same thing with these I don't know what you call them, the fender wells, the half fender wells that the C4s have. I'm actually going to leave those on until we fit the motor in, and then we'll see actually how much room we have. I have a feeling that I can actually fit my turbo in here just by trimming this fender well around the control arm there, and it should work out pretty nicely. So. right. Well, the bus removal was actually a failure. This has got that glue inside of it, and it's so old and brittle. If I try and pull this apart, it's going to shatter in a million pieces. So I think what I'm going to do is just wait till I get my Holly set up and get that all wired in, and then I'll probably come through here and snip these individually down at the bus itself, just so it doesn't look so bad. But otherwise, everything else, I went back to basics. All the nitrous solenoid wiring's gone. The push button start gone. The analog oil pressure, analog engine temperature gone. We've got just the essentials, which is our speedo there. This is our lockup connector here. As you can see, she's in pretty rough shape. And then this ground wire goes to my manual lockup switch, so I can lock up in third gear and basically leave the line in third, let the trans shift first through third, and then lock it up at the top of third, not let it go into fourth under power, because I'm kind of scared of that. And then I've got my fuel pump solenoid wiring here. So I actually think I'm going to reuse this wiring because it's nice and thick and it's not brittle. It's got some life left on it, and I'll probably end up wiring that right into the Holly. The connector on this, though, you can see what happens over time. You can actually take these pins. It's hard to do with one hand, but you can actually move these pins in and out of the connector. It's just so old and grody. Deleted the stock fuel pump solenoid. I've got my starter trigger wire here. We've got tack signal here, which I'm hoping that we can use the stock one with the Holly too. We've got our engine grounds, and we can we'll ground our Holly with that as well. And then we've just got our wiper connectors here. And of course, over on this side, we've got our power to starter. And we've got our ground to engine block here. So we're pretty much set. Overall though, it's much cleaner. It's gonna be real easy to just lift these up and sort of tie these up. Get our engine and trans set in there, mocked up. With the motor mounts that I'm ordering, I believe I'm gonna have some play back and forth. So we're gonna mock up, mark the motor mounts, pull them out, and then we're gonna tear down the engine this weekend. So we'll just keep it moving along. I wanna keep recording videos of this whole process. This is how I do projects. I just kind of run and gun. I don't know a lot about a lot, but I can work on these types of things. So we're gonna get it going, and hopefully Monday next week we'll have our engine block dropped off at the machine shop. We're gonna get it checked out. We're gonna run a stock block with a turbo and just send it. We're gonna keep the 700 R4, which is kind of a downfall, but we're also keeping the Dana 36, which is also a downfall. So we're gonna have to really keep an eye on those things and run this car while keeping that in mind. That's why I'm not gonna be running a trans brake in this car. That'll bring things to an end fairly quickly, I'm certain. But we are gonna have some fun. Yeah, we'll cut it off there, and we'll be back on Friday to get this LS mocked up, and then I'm gonna make a video of that, and then I'm also gonna make a video tearing down that LS. And keep in mind, I've never built an LS before. I've built a ton of motors, but I've never touched an LS, never owned an LS, nothing. So it's all gonna be new to me, but you know, it's more of the same. Stay tuned, we got a lot more to come. We're gonna be ordering a turbo next week as well, put down in the comments. If you want to leave a comment, tell me what kind of turbo you got on your 5.3. Tell me what kind of setup you got on your LS swap project. Let me know if you ever seen LS 5.3 turbo swap before. I know there's a couple out there, but very few, and the ones that I've seen, I've been watching for quite a while, and I haven't seen much progress. So you're gonna see that I bang through projects, and this is gonna be no different. We're gonna get this done, and we're gonna do it kind of the right way. We're gonna do it on a budget. This year, we're going for that Holley EFI, and you know, maybe next year we're gonna do some expensive stuff, but for now, we're gonna do the sort of junkyard 5.3. We're gonna get a decent turbo intercooler and have a real nice engine management system so this thing will run good. We're gonna have a blast. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned, more to come.